Hello, hello,
This podcast, girls.
and the city. You are welcomed by your two lovely co-hosts, me, Sana, who will share a piece of learning or wisdom with you today that I think nicely ties to today's episode. And the saying goes, a man is raised to become someone, a woman is raised to find someone.
Oof. Okay, we need to take that one apart in a minute. Um, and me, Elizabeth, who's recently been testing out if the small town vibe is for her, or maybe I need to still be in a city. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, that's like much more like a normal life.
But I like your words of
One-liner.
wisdom. Wait, can we pause on your words of wisdom for a second?
Yeah.
Unpack it a little. Tell me more.
No, I mean, like, honestly, it's TikTok, knowledge bank. I was scrolling through TikTok, and I think it was a comedian who said that as an opening line. And I was like, that's so true. I mean, at least when our generation was still, raised,
Yeah.
I do feel it very nicely summarizes how the world works or worked for a very long time, where you as a man, as like a young guy, you are raised to become someone, and everyone is supporting you to, you have to become someone, which brings its own pressures. But for a woman, it's all about you have to find someone. Like,
Yeah.
that's like almost, if you don't do it, you are not whole. Like, your life is not whole.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think it's anything new or surprising. It's just the way it's put together. I do like it, and I don't agree with it. And it was just like in the moment of, one of the overthinking moments of my life in this week. I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I do sometimes fall in this fallacy of I need to find someone, but no, I just can, make myself to be someone that I'm proud
sure.
of, and whatever happens, happens. But, the almost like the mindset, like I need to remind myself this from time to time. And that's something I don't like, because I doubt that men have to remind this themselves. Like, I think that's what they have basically imprinted in their minds since they were young.
No, it's totally fair. And like, do you think that's changing at all? Or is that still gonna hold true for
Well,
a while?
Good question. I actually went for a roast earlier today.
Okay.
And we've had the conversation about this, and they were like, do you think it's still true? Like, for kids or, younger generation these days, younger,
Yeah.
I mean 20 and younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't really tell, because I am not surrounded by anyone who would be in this age group. Like,
Okay.
it's either people are older or my friends are about to raise kids, but they are either just being born or, on the way in the next 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell is happening in that age group of 0 to 20. It might be different, but it's almost difficult for me to understand what's the thing. But for our generation, definitely, I would say was still a case.
Yeah. And I think that like I'm thinking of all my like upbringing as well, and obviously like I come from a pretty traditional family where it's like, yeah, of course you're gonna have a family. Of course you're gonna find someone to like spend the rest of your life with. And I'm thinking also of like how did my parents raise me to have aspirations? Like I think that my mom always told me like you can be anything but a spy, just because my dual personality of Russian American. She's like,
that's bad.
No,
I always wanted to be a spy.
I think she just was looking out for me, and like having
Yeah,
that like
fair.
spy lifestyle is probably like not ideal. But I didn't want to be a spy anyways. It's fine. Like I didn't have a
I
problem
always
with that
wanted to
being
be a
rolled out.
spy. There were like 2 plays I would play as a child: a spy and then a dog.
Oh, interesting. I was a dog, but I was a dog on the pirate ship because the boys in kindergarten really wanted to be pirates, so I was a dog on their ship. So it really random, but not to digress. But I'm just thinking like.
Okay, some trauma maybe.
It's not trauma, it was fun. But anyways, like I was also thinking about it, but like why is it that we like were pushed towards education and things like that? And thinking like from my parents' mentality, I'm also thinking it's like they wanted, and this is like actually goes into our like episode quite nicely as well. It's like they wanted me to be in those rooms where I can meet like people who are like well educated, people who are gonna be like doing something with their lives. And I think like maybe like even my first day of university, I vividly remember this because they had like the parents come and join like some of the classes and so you can meet the professors. And my
Mm.
mom was looking around the room. She's like, "There's not a lot of cute guys here."
Yeah, but that's exactly what I mean. Like even when you're like consciously, your mom knew how education is important for you, and
Yeah.
my mom was the same, and I am the same. It's just like something that is so deeply imprinted in you that you're just gonna fall into that like
Yeah.
on daily basis probably, and you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Anyway, we I think diverged
Yeah.
quite.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
This
think
is very unusual start of the episode, which is
welcome to our
cool. And
special
I'm gonna
episode.
clean my lens because I think it's still.
All right, while you're doing that, tell me about your week. How was it? What have you been up to?
Well, what have I been up to? Good. I feel like all my effort that I'm putting, professionally speaking, into the world is finally seeing some seeds, and
Nice.
that makes me very happy. I had a few interviews, connected with people, very cool people, building my network, so that's great.
Iconic. Love
Um,
it.
as I mentioned, I went for a roast today with some friends, which is always nice. Um, I was really tired this week. Like yesterday, I slept during the day, which for me is a big thing.
She took a nap.
I took a nap and then I fell asleep also quite early on, like in the evening. And there was a party, obviously. There was a party in our courtyard again. And I
Fourth of
just,
July?
no, I think it's just Saturday, honestly. Every Saturday there's a party.
Of course.
Um, and I fell asleep regardless, so that was great feeling. I think I just, you know, I am a person who needs to reboot after interacting with people. And
No,
that's
sure.
was probably that. So yesterday I literally did nothing, just lie in my bed and
Beautiful.
rested and ate, obviously. Um, I am also, I might say publicly now, single again.
Woo!
Woo. I've been uh, involved in something which had a lot of potential, but unfortunately things have changed, and this is probably the best outcome that it can have at the moment. But yeah, it meant that we have to go our own ways. So that made me feel, like all my claims of being delusional, it works. I still believe you should be delusional, um, because then it's just miserable, probably. But yeah, I'm like, what's the universe trying to tell me here? Um,
Universe is always saying something.
yeah, like what's the lesson here, you know?
For sure, for sure. Um,
But that's me. What
that's
about you?
awesome. Yeah, I've been good. What have I been doing? Work's good. We like, yeah, I think everyone pretty much knows we launched our product 2 weeks ago. Very exciting. The one day I did decide to take off this week because like, my manager is like, you need to take a day off. Like you've been doing too
Okay,
much.
thank God.
Yeah, so she was like, go take a day off on Thursday. And the day that I take that off on Thursday, a first patient uses it. And then like they was like an edge case that they were like using, and so it broke the product, and I was like, oh my God.
That's good though.
It's good. No, no, it's good. Someone is using it. We're finding like
And you
issues with
found
it. Yeah,
the
yeah.
bug.
Exactly. Like our team fixed it within like an hour or so. So like it was all great outcomes. But I was like, oh no, I wasn't there to like pop the virtual champagne and be like, oh, we're getting there. Because yeah, the last like week or so we were trying to drive a lot of the sales process and the adoption and all the stuff, like all the things that you do in product. But yeah, so I'm very excited to return to work this week. Just because it sounds like all the efforts that we've been putting in as a team for the past like 6 months are starting to pay off. Especially like in an organization that felt like the rest of leadership until they saw it come to fruition, they didn't believe in it and didn't want to further invest in it. But now we're starting to really ramp up, which is exciting.
Finally. Also,
Yeah.
like that must like you have to be crazy if American manager tells you to take a day off.
Yeah. No, it's like
That's another level.
So I did take the day off. I went to Rhode Island for the weekend because my friend and her family are from there. And I know her
And it
from
was also 4th of
undergrad. It was
July.
4th of July. And it's part of the reason why she invited me because her town, so in Bristol, Rhode Island, they go very big. Apparently it's like the longest running 4th of July parade in
Huh.
America. And so next year will be 250 years that it's been running. And so even during COVID, they didn't stop. So,
Impressive.
yeah,
Impressive.
but it was crazy. The weather was insane because I got there on Thursday and 4th of July was on Friday. There was a huge, like, basically almost like tornado hurricane. Like, the rain was pouring and they were about to cancel the fireworks. And then last minute they got the fireworks together. So it was a bit chaotic, but it was fun. Like, it was nice to go to a small town where literally, like, her family knows everyone there. It's like a small Portuguese, like, community. And there's, like, I
Oh,
swear she has like
sweet.
30 relatives there. And I felt like I met everyone. So yeah, it was really nice. And then we went to Newport on Saturday. It was our Friday and Saturday, and so like I loved the area to a point that I was starting to look at houses there. I'm like, do I want to move here? Is this like cute enough? Because it was just really nice. Like they had the beach there, they had the small town vibe, they had like the seafood. And so it's just really nice, and it's conveniently like positioned with an accessible train to Boston and New York. So. I'm looking into it. But overall, I really just
Sounds
enjoyed it.
nice. So
It's nice,
Elizabeth
yeah.
is growing up.
Well, that's why I had my opener of like maybe I can do a small town. I don't know. As long as I can go
But
somewhere.
isn't it too early?
That's true. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, it's been a good week. I'm now back home, and excited to yeah kick off this week. Hopefully, be a little more productive
Woo!
now that I'm rested.
Yeah, summer starts also.
Woo! Yeah, 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 yeah. But shall we dive into our episode? Because we already
Yeah,
started to allude a couple of the
let's go.
topics, which I'm
Yes, yeah.
excited about.
So I am the person, the summary girl.
Yes, but we're on season 2, episode 10, and it's the caste system.
This caste system, yes,
Woo!
we
We talk about
we
social
start
classes.
we start to do woo a lot.
We're very excited to be here.
It is true. It is true. Anyway, jumping right into it. So this episode is a reflection on the social hierarchy and the ways in which class and status impact relationship and social interaction. So we have, like, as always, all our girls having parallel stories that somehow touch on the idea of dating outside of your class or dating different class and how that works or doesn't work. I think most of the time in specifically this episode. Um, Samantha meets this very, very wealthy guy who is a real estate developer and has a servant that is an Asian woman and basically a maid, assistant, everything you can imagine. And she experiences for the first time the perks and complexities of this lifestyle, which I think was quoted in the episode saying Samantha could never have like a servant, but she definitely can see herself experiencing when dating someone else.
Yeah.
We quickly learn that this woman, the servant, is not as simple and basic as presented initially, and is basically in love with the guy and makes Samantha feel very uncomfortable the moment the guy leaves the house. Just turns into a total bitch and puts her in a situation at the end where Samantha is painted as a mean girl, and obviously the guy sides with the servant, if I can call it like that. She was a maid, I guess. Um, and then Samantha realizes, yeah, like this could never work because he will always take her side.
Yeah, even though she's
I
lying.
mean, I honestly think that the woman was just secretly hoping that one day he will see her for who she really is and marry her.
Yeah, yeah.
Good luck to that. So yeah, that didn't work. Charlotte meets a celebrity that comes to her gallery and goes on this fun experience where she's just, I think, enjoying the fact that a celebrity would be interested in her and finds her attractive, but it's very shallow, like the typical portrait of dating a celebrity as a normal average person,
Yeah.
where they feel like they are the world and everything evolves around them, and kind of highlighting the transactional nature of dating a celebrity, where she at some point turned into like a fun service experience, bringing them drinks and kind of doing whatever he asked her for. Where yeah, she realizes like, okay, like I'm clearly perceived as I think
The
there was like
groupie.
a yeah, like there was a sentence being like, if I would do this, I would turn into untouchable from his perspective. And because our Charlotte has her standards that she always upkeep, which is something I really like about her, she's like, no, thank you, I am out. Um, Miranda and Steve continue dating, but I think we touched upon this already last time, where we clearly see that they are from different classes. Miranda is making a lot of money compared to Steve, and that create clashes between them. Well, now it really escalates because Miranda asks Steve to join her for this fancy dinner networking event that her firm organizes. And as a result, Steve needs to have a nice suit, which Steve doesn't do suits because why would he? He's a bartender. And he also can't afford, obviously, a nice one. So Miranda suggests to pay for it. But there is this whole dynamic, which is not only is he in different class, but also monetary. He doesn't want her to pay for things because this makes him not a man enough.
Well, he said that
Ultimately,
it would make it him feel like she's being his mother, and that would make it weird
yeah.
for him. Which,
Exactly. And I honestly like until he didn't say that, I was like, okay, what the fuck? Like, would you care? But when he says it, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense
yeah.
actually, and I can completely relate. So, long story short, he tries, but then he feels so uncomfortable, and also he almost like he barely can afford this suit, so he returns it, and he's like, yeah, I'm not coming with you. I don't think this works. You need someone who is more on your level. She takes it very personally. She's like, so you break up with me over a suit? And he's like, it's more than that. And she's like, yeah, thank you for ruining my evening. Basically heartbroken. And we have our lovely Carrie and Mr. Big, where she is again spiraling.
I mean, she's in
um,
delusional land. She's not spiraling.
she is spiraling because she says, I love you for the first time. And then it's in the weirdest possible
But she
moment.
was thinking it for a while.
She was, but then she just like it just goes out unexpectedly out of her, and he doesn't say it back, and then she's just like obsessive about, oh, what the fuck is happening? Like, if he doesn't say it back soon, I have to break up with him. And do relationships have their own caste systems where one person says this, one doesn't, and blah 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 blah. You know, Carrie being Carrie. So that kind of goes through the whole episode where she is pissed at the whole situation. And the big event there is Big takes her to this Upper East Side party where everyone is pretentious and, posh.
It's got their
And
bird
she
purses.
obviously doesn't belong there. And just finds the whole thing very, yeah, pretentious. Feels like it's just fake, and does people does don't recognize people for who they really are. She meets this friend who is doing waitering there, um, and because Mr. Big kind of tells her, "You keep embarrassing me here. Can you please stop?" She's like, "No, I'm embarrassing you. Thank you." She kind of leaves with the guy, get drunk, make out
Guess
with
they
him.
just kiss.
Yeah, but he sleeps over her place. Which then we cut to the next morning, and Mr. Big calls Gary, being like, "I understand what's wrong here all the time. I just need to say it in my own time. I love you, obviously." And yeah, Carrie is happy again. While making sure that she didn't sleep with the guy because she doesn't remember anything. So Carrie being chaotic Carrie. Yeah, so that is the episode. And we have a question, which
Yes.
is can we date outside our caste?
Yeah, so meaning like the class system.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, let's get into it because like there's a couple of things, right? Because obviously, like, yeah, I guess we can start with dating outside of your class. But before we get into that, one of the things that as I was watching this episode, I was curious is like with all these interactions, where do we think the girls sit in terms of the class system, and what are
Mm.
the class systems then, and if they've changed essentially? Because like I just want to understand as we pinpoint that, because it seems like they're in between. Like they're not like blue collar working class, but also they don't fit in with the like the high end.
I think they are middle upper middle.
Okay.
I mean, because it's also different. US is different than UK. UK is obsessed about the class,
But
and
they have got the whole
apparently,
aristocracy and everything else.
yeah,
Like
but
it's deep in
apparently
history.
you can't be upper class unless you are royal or have a sir or
Like
like lord.
born
So you
into
can't
it.
even you can't yourself make it, if you work hard and be successful, make it to the upper class. It is just through generational recognition and positioning in society. So you can be the most you can do is upper
Yeah.
middle upper. I always confuse this one. Like the upper part of the middle class, which is like founders who have millions and are basically very rich,
Yeah.
let's
Would
say.
movie stars get into that too? Because I feel like that's what it
Mm-hmm.
was as well. Because like
Yeah.
that movie star, he doesn't like he may have had the income and the ability to afford those like excessive things, but he wasn't acting like the classy middle class, the upper class.
No. So that's like I think the new rich versus old rich also a discussion. But I feel like and you tell me, in the US is more about your income and how much money you make. So either you
Um,
are in 1%, because like all people who are rich in US kind of at some point they build it themselves. So it's all about like work and also being lucky, whatever type of year, time you lived. Like in 70s and 80s, if you started to build a company, probably you are generational wealth now. But
yeah.
it's not like lord or royal
Well,
connected.
because
So I
again, it's
feel
the
like,
history of the U.S. It's very Fourth of
yeah,
July
so I feel
topical.
like it's more like a 1%, like upper 1%, and then there's like a middle, and then there's like a lower class. But you tell me.
I guess I don't really either know. Like again, there's the whole the US I think is special in that case. And I think actually interesting enough, Russia is very similar from my understanding, except for there's not a middle class. There's only like a bottom and like a top, for a myriad of reasons. Um, but in the US, in this case, I think there is the concept of like old money and new money, and I think that's exactly what it comes to. It's like, did they accumulate wealth within their lifetime, or were they born into like the Rockefellers, or the a generational wealth built over time of like your
Like
previous.
Kennedy's.
Sure, yeah, yeah, your past like generations were the ones that accumulated the wealth and set up their generations ahead, for that. But I do think, again, the US population is huge, like over 300 million. So like the prevalence of lower and middle class, I think, is greater in that case.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we kind of established
Okay.
classes.
Yes.
Now let's go back to your question. I mean, I don't think any of the girls are in a 1%.
No.
Big probably is.
Is he? I don't know if he is.
I mean, look, remember the episode with the church and everything?
Sure. That's a bougie church. I mean, I don't.
No, but look at like the way that his mother also dressed. I feel like it was generational.
I think it is generational. I don't know if it's top 1% though.
Okay, maybe there is a between this like between middle class and 1% there is something like rich,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
which is probably him.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
Carrie's definitely well now like do that's a thing like middle upper middle. Which one is it? Upper
I don't
middle?
even know.
It's like the
I'm
highest
not an
part of the middle.
anthropologist. Apologies.
Highest part of the middle class. I think they're all there. If that exists,
Yeah.
that they're all there. Obviously, Samantha and Charlotte, I think, are they are the highest. Charlotte because of the generational background. Samantha because she just made herself.
Well, Miranda also
She
makes
built
bank.
herself.
Let's be honest.
Sure, sure. I like. I feel like with Miranda, you can kind of more predict or like her salary progression is more what's the word? Transparent. But Samantha works in entertainment and PR, and I think like the money that is going there is huge, and it's very
Back
hard
in
to
the day, yeah.
like it's very hard for me to predict how much money she actually has.
Yeah, I think like her again because of how the industry is shaped, I think PR and communications were like the marketing and strategy of today. So I feel like in today's understanding, she would be like an SVP of marketing and strategy at like a pretty big
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
Because I don't think like PR
And she also
is
had her
that big.
own company. Like, let's not
Yeah.
forget that. Like, versus Miranda was still an employee,
Yeah, but again,
but it's a different industry. But like,
yeah.
it's just like because she's an employee, like you get this salary, which are like more or less you can predict them, right? But like Samantha, you have no clue how much money she was making
No,
because
for
she
sure.
had her own company.
It's hard to compare.
Um, and then yeah, I mean, like Charlotte also, I think she was working for pleasure, not for money. So
I think Charlotte was a secret trust fund baby. Ah,
yeah, I agree. She she was also always like chill about money
yeah, yeah.
somehow. So I
That's
think she
fine.
was kind of fine for life. And Carrie obviously is, I think, she and Samantha, I would say, came from the same base, maybe, but
Yeah.
Samantha is obviously older, but she's also much better businesswoman.
No, for sure, for
And
sure.
and management of money is also better. So Carrie is just shopaholic.
No, I mean, I relate. No, but like going back to like the classes and judging kind of their relationships based on it, like Charlotte had a very strong stance of like Miranda getting serious with Steve.
Mm.
She's like, do you seriously not have a problem with dating a guy who like his life relies on tips and things like that? And like being the idea of being a bartender. I again, my personal take is there is nothing wrong with dating someone that's a blue collar, as long as they have aspiration. Like for me, where it kills it, and I think for a number of my friends in the past who've also found themselves in similar situations, it's like I like, for example, went on a date with a guy who was like a very entry level architect in London.
Hmm.
And he was like just so happy being there and didn't feel like he wanted to progress. And to me, that's where it kills the vibe. I was like, I don't care how much you make or who what you work as when I meet you. I care about like the progression, the growth, the aspiration to be better. And if that's lacking, that's where I have an issue. And so like in this case,
Yeah.
I understand Miranda's frustration with Steve in that case because she's like he's just happy being a bartender. Because Charlotte's like, oh yeah, a lot of like artists have started out as bartenders, but then they became famous and all this stuff. She's like, he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, and also like there is a huge difference between, you what you said. You were in your early 20s. They are in their 30s, and
Yeah,
the expectation of your progression of career is very different.
for
Like there
sure.
is a 10 years difference. So like if you are as a bartender when you are 20 because you want to, support yourself through
Yeah.
university or school, whatever, or you're just like figuring yourself out. But
Right,
when you
right,
are
right.
in your 30s and you're a bartender and you don't want to necessarily progress, yeah, I completely I couldn't probably do that because
Yeah.
we're just not on the same level in terms of how we expect our life to be in terms of comfort and ambition and everything.
No, for sure. And I feel like in this case, it's just really hard for Miranda because she's finally like and Carrie is the one that like finds it shocking. She's like, wow, out of everyone in the room, like Miranda is like the most giddy, the most hopeful, which is very uncommon for her.
She's in love.
She is, but like I'm so happy for Miranda. But at the same time, I can imagine how that's like a tough situation of when you're like feelings, you're like, oh my God, this guy's so great. Like he actually really likes me. He actually thinks about things like and all this stuff. But then there's this rational thought in your mind being like, this could never actually work out, can it?
So I have a question for you. Do you
Okay.
think that she's settling down?
I don't think so. I think Miranda, like, I don't think she's met Steve and she's like, I'm gonna marry him. I do think that Miranda wants to believe in like love and like she wants to have this, even if it's a short-term relationship, but just to feel that again.
Hmm.
I don't think she's settling. I think she's just having fun. You're only settling if you're
What
like, I'm gonna marry them.
what I mean, settling for less because she is struggling so much with dating a
But what do you
decent
mean by
guy.
settling for less? She's not that he's treating her great.
That's true, but like what you said, like you kind of deeply feel that this doesn't have future. It's almost like I do feel good around this person, but it's just I feel deep down that there is going to be a problem long term because our lifestyles, our ambition are just so different.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ignore it because finally there is one person that recognizes me for who I am and makes me feel good.
But again, I it depends on what you're looking to be the outcome of the relationship. If it is
Mm.
just a fun relationship for the short term, you're not settling because like he's treating you great. If you are thinking of like, oh, I'm gonna marry him and this is it, that in that case she might be settling. If she thinks she's never gonna feel that way again with anyone else, so she has to compromise on all of the things that she's looking for.
Yeah. But I mean, it's probably different per person. Like some people put more importance into the whole idea of lifestyle. Some
Yeah.
people put more importance into the idea of love. But I was listening to Diary of a CEO podcast recently, and there was oh my God, gosh, I have to touch this mic at least once. There was this guy who's like very famous. He was on what was the name of the like where you pitch your startups?
Oh, Shark Tank
Shark Tank, yeah.
or
Like very
Dragon's Den.
one of that. Like he's very famous. You like I am really bad with names, sorry. But he was saying that he talked to like a divorce lawyer, and the number one reason for people getting divorced is not actually it's not infidelity, it's money.
Yeah.
It's not only like making money, but management of money. Like how much you spend, how much you save, how you want to kind of go about it long term. So that's what I mean. Like love eventually will fade or just change
Yeah.
into different type of love. But how you live, like your work, your ambition, your progression in whatever career, I think it is foolish to ignore it.
Yeah. No, and I think
If especially if you want to like live with this person for the rest of your life, maybe start family.
I agree. And I think that's why I always view marriage as a group project. It's how you deal in tough situations, how you deal with resource allocation, including money, and things like that. The trade-offs that you make, the decisions that you make together, comes back to that. So
Yeah.
like, can you run a good project with like your partner is like
And
the question.
and that's I think where, I said that my one-liner for today is kind of linked to what we're talking about
Yeah.
today. Because for men it's very important that they make themselves to be someone so they can then feel like a man and
Be the
support
provider.
their way of provider, which we also see with Steve. Like he is feeling uncomfortable as hell with
Yeah.
the fact that he can't provide for Miranda and kind of be the protector provider. So obviously he, even he who doesn't really care about career has this recognition. And for women, it's more like I don't really care whether I need to provide for you or not, because for us it's more like care. Like I care, and so I want to help
We
you.
provide in different ways. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
like
we can
like
build a life.
when she was like, "Oh, there's no, don't worry, I can pay for it." Like for her, it was more like, "I want you there. I know you don't have money. It's not a big problem for me to cover this. So like,
Yeah.
let me do it because for me, it's an expression of care and love." For him, it was more like the moment you do this, the dynamic changes, and it's just like it's not gonna work.
Right.
Um, and I think that's the main problem here, because if you are a woman and you make more money, considerably more money, you get into this dynamic, and unless you, I imagine there are a lot of couples that work like this. I don't know what dynamics is. It's also probably depends on individual like needs. There are probably very masculine women that don't want it any other way. And there are guys who actually prefer to be in that setup. But I feel like biologically and naturally, most of us have the same position that Steve would feel, and also, Miranda would feel, which is when a guy makes more money, and also is what was said in an episode. When a single man has money, it works to his advantage, but when a single woman has the money, it's a problem. I want to enjoy my success, not apologize for it. And I get it. But then, do you really want to take the role of a mother for the guy?
Well, I don't know. I think like we're thinking of the very traditional gender norms in this case. I think there's a number of circumstances where people have assessed the responsibilities of running a relationship, running a family, and I've like heard of a number of instances where there have been like stay-at-home fathers and they've taken on a lot of the responsibilities. I think it's just going back to what are you good at and what are you bringing to the table. Going back to my group project analysis is like I'm good at this, you're good at that. In this case, I could be good at making the money. Great. Can you clean the house? Can you do the dishes? Can you do everything else? So like I can then focus on like bringing in the
Income.
cash.
Yeah, I mean,
Because my
it's
issue,
where it's where we are going. Like there are more and more women who are very successful financially, and we talked about it. It's like the whole dynamics is changing because what's the role of man, right?
yeah,
Now when
and
like
if they're happy to take on the other responsibilities. So for example, my concern is like if men have this idea, they're like, yeah, I'm cool with my wife making money. I'm also, but I'd actually want her to clean the house and do the dishes and actually cook for me as well. And in that case, it's impossible. It's impossible for
hmm,
you to be like the man being like, oh yeah, I'm a stay-at-home dad, but you just sit around on the couch. Or you come home like really late from your whatever regular job where you're bringing in some cash, but not all of it. And then you have like an issue of being like, well, why aren't you being a woman? And I've seen relationships be like that as well. And that's what I have like the issue. It's like you've not reallocated the roles properly. Because I think it's perfectly fine to
yeah.
have like non-traditional gender roles in that case. Like, okay, great, then you're gonna stay at home with the kids and take care of them while I actually go work. Like, and that's why I think Marina's having a hard time. She's like, it's why am I
Yeah,
being
but
punished for being successful?
it's just I think, and I am not like I am a person who changes my
Your
opinions daily.
approach. Yeah,
But I feel like this is a very woman-like perception because for us it's like, well, it doesn't matter who makes money and who takes care of the kids. Like we can switch. Like it's more like what makes the most sense. I think for men there's much more ego and this whole pressure that
men
you
are
need to
raised
make
differently.
like you need to make something out of yourself. And if you don't, you failed. And so even if they will take over this role, I think internally it's completely different for them than it's for us. For us, it's just like, yeah, whoever does whatever, it doesn't really matter as long as it makes sense. For them, it's like, if I don't do the protector or provider, I am a failure.
Yeah.
And nothing else matters because she's taking care of me. I'm like a child, like what Steve
What
said.
Steve
I
said. Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
that kind of like rhetoric is much more probably prevalent for them. But for us, we don't have that because we are raised to be taken care of. We also are raised to be like independent.
But
So
we're
we
also
kind of
raised to
do,
be caretakers. Wait a second. I think a lot of
yeah,
women are though. Like we like to be taken care of as well for sure, but we can also take control of the situation, be like,
that's what
it's
I
shit
mean.
right now, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like we are raised to kind of like you have to like at least our generation like you have to take care of yourself, right? Like the whole boss energy and like you need to make sure that when nothing else works, like you can provide for yourself, but you still also are raised to just like be taken care of.
But in that case,
And
we're taught to be like flexible
yeah,
in that case.
exactly.
Like we can
And
it's
that's
like
what I
adaptability, but I don't think yeah, men sadly don't have
and
that.
that's the whole problem where she's like, I want to celebrate my success, not apologize for it because she is fine with both roles. She's doing whatever she thinks works for her versus I think men have either I have to be a taker or I'm a failure more often. There are
Yeah.
definitely exceptions.
Well, I think this goes
Anyway,
back to my like takeaway from that one dating expert event that I went to. It was like, don't date insecure men. Like, because that's literally what it comes down to, right? It's like you see yourself as a failure because you're only judging yourself based on this one mark. You're not
yeah, but
seeing
I mean,
everything else around you, like where
if
you
if
could
a
succeed.
society is giving you these signals as well, it's
But
quite
like
hard
that's
to
where you
fight
have
it.
to be smarter than. It's the same thing of like when you see media in the newspapers, when you read history books, you have to question it. It's like, what is their bias? Where is that coming from? And it's the same thing of like, okay, well, traditionally, like society has taught me this. Is that true? should that hold true? And that's like the same thing that like I think again women are flexible and they question themselves. Like for example, for us, at least you and I have had these conversations a number of times. It's like, do we need to be in a relationship? Like, is that something that's gonna make me happy, or like when I'm gonna be 80 years old,
Mm.
is that gonna make me think I've succeeded or failed in my life? And I think it's like it's that constant like evaluation of the norms and like what you think would actually make you happy versus what society wants you to do.
Good point. I think we think much more than men do
I mean,
and
hey,
reflect.
I'd love to have maybe even the next date that I go on, I'd like to have this conversation with them, being like, so what do you
What
evaluate
is your
your
recent reflection about your life?
yeah, like how do you
Um,
think you're like succeeding or failing in life and like what is that measured against?
what a great opener.
I,
Where are you failing right now in your life, and where do you think you're succeeding? You know?
it's gonna sound like an interview. I take my
Yeah.
dating very seriously.
Anyway, maybe let's close
Yeah,
this
yeah,
topic
yeah,
because
yeah.
we have some like side topics
Yeah.
that I think are interesting. But have you ever dated someone, or like do you know any like useful stories where someone would be dating someone outside of the class and it would just either worked out perfectly or does
So
didn't work?
funny that you asked that. I hung out with my friend this weekend and I asked her this question, to which she just laughed at me doing this episode. She's like, you never really dated anyone that was like a blue collar worker. And I was like, but I have. And she's
You
like, not
you
really.
have.
Okay, well, whatever. She doesn't think so. Because based on their income, they're actually like middle and upper class, even though it's considered blue collar job. That's how she defined it, which was interesting.
Yeah, but like I do side with Charlotte here, which is like it's also about the background and education, not only the money.
True, true. Anyways, but my friend said that she's like, historically I have, but it's always impacted me negatively instead of positively. And so I said, how so? She's like, I mean, sometimes they're poor and nice, but then I have to pitch in for the date.
Uh,
Which killed me. She's like, yeah, but the positive is like they are nice and sometimes their families are nice too.
yeah, but are they nice just because that's the only thing they can offer? Like, would they be so nice if they would be richer and more like,
Oh, but a lot of rich
stronger,
families are like really
whatever?
stuck up and bitchy though. They half the
No,
time they're like, you're not worthy of our son.
I'm not talking about family. I'm talking about the guy.
Oh.
Like, if he would have power and money, would he be still the same? Or is this just because he feels that the only thing he can offer to her, because, there's an imbalance, is being nice?
I mean, I think sometimes when power gets to men's heads, though, and they're like too rich and powerful, they do become assholes.
I think that it just reveals your true self.
Sure, but it's sometimes people like it gets
Can
to your
get
head.
corrupted,
It
yeah.
gets to your head. And in
But
that
it's
case,
not
like you
even
think,
power. It's just like status recognition, you know?
yeah, but then you think you can buy anything in life, and you're like, oh, I can like buy you with a fancy bag or whatever, and I'm like, okay, good luck, sweetie.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I don't think that you change because you have this opportunities now. I think you always been like that. It's just now you have means to actually let it play out.
That depends. Again, I think that depends if you're it's like new wealth or generational wealth as well, though, too.
For sure. No, but I'm talking about like,
New wealth.
let's say yeah. I
Okay.
mean, in this case, he would, kind of get into it.
Yeah. No, I think
Anyway,
yeah.
um, interesting.
Multifaceted. How about you? Have you heard of any stories, experienced any stories?
I mean, I know, I know a lot of girls wanted to marry rich, right? Because Eastern
East European
European,
mentality, yeah.
yeah, dude, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Um, never was on my card. Like I wanted to be love for my brain rather than that. But do I know some? No, I don't know anyone who would like jump that like classes that extremely.
Yeah.
Neither like in neither cases or directions.
Yeah.
I definitely know a lot of traditional setups though, where like men would be, traditionally perceived as like this is a my role as a provider and I have to make more money. And girls are more like caretakers, or
Yeah.
women, I should say. And they are happy with it and they don't question it.
No, for sure.
Mm, so no,
I mean,
not really.
I did when I was like younger. I that was my time when I was called a gold digger in high school. It was very fun. I love getting bullied for that.
What?
No, because like when I was younger, like I dated a guy who's like from a pretty like affluent family in Russia, and like when I was in high school in England, all the girls were like, "Oh, she always hung out with the Americans until he came, and all of a sudden she speaks Russian again. Like, what a gold digger."
Okay, that's
Which was like
that's just
crazy.
jealousy.
Yeah, and I felt bad because like for me, I didn't even care about what they were saying. I kind of was more worried about how he would perceive it, and I was more worried about like I hope he doesn't think that's true. Because
Did you
to
ask him?
I did. We had a whole conversation about it because I was like, "Hey, like people are saying this. I really hope that you're not believing any of that because it's not true." He's like, "Yeah, I know it's not." And I was like, "Okay, well then
So,
we're on the same
why
page."
did you break up?
Because I moved. Don't
Oh, that
don't hurt
sucks.
me like that.
No, I
Um,
mean like that was interesting, and
that I mean that was
it's
not at all why we broke up. Obviously, like it just happened. We were really young. We went our different ways,
is that
honestly.
your love story?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's like slowly you are like giving me extra puzzles pieces every time, and I'm putting the story together. Very
But
cute.
anyways, yeah, so like that was my one experience of it, but that was a crazy experience though, because yeah, I think like at that age it was kind of crazy of like the number of things that we would just do that I would just like not think were like be normal.
Yeah,
Like five,
especially at that age.
yes, exactly, exactly. So it's like that was to me like basically dating a celebrity in that case. Um,
Which good like
segue.
segue. I was gonna say sideway, but that doesn't make sense. Segue. There is one of the characters is dating a celebrity,
Yes,
and
Charlotte.
Charlotte. And yeah, as I pointed out, it's portrayed like in every other movie, very shallow, very one-sided, the transactional. And I actually wonder, like, do you know anyone, or like, have you had experience if we exclude this guy to be celebrity? Like, do you think it's like that in real life? They are that shallow.
I don't think so. I don't like again, it's probably a generalization, but I think like there are some celebrities who are very normal people. And I think like a lot of celebrities actually prefer to date someone that's not like in Hollywood or like in that sense
Mm.
because they actually want some normalcy back in their life. Because a lot of it just gets to people's heads. So I think it's a fun plot, especially for Charlotte. But I don't think that necessarily applies to every single celebrity.
Hard to say. I feel like also the dynamics of what celebrity is and who is celebrity changed from the 90s
Yeah.
to today. They also need to be more authentic today. I feel like they
Really?
were supposed. Yeah, I think today people don't want to just the shiny perfection. They want realness
Yeah.
and they want to interact with you on social media and kind of see you as a human rather than like this perfection, which makes you then even more of like a perfect idealization of who you are.
But some
I
people
think
also
like
don't
the
try too
sparse.
hard. Like they'll be an asshole in like real life and they don't care about it. Because there've been so many like things of in the US, they're like, oh, I met this person in this restaurant. Like they were so nice to me and they tipped me so well, versus like, oh, they were so rude to the wait staff. Like I don't think people care at that point.
Yeah, but I also feel it's much harder to be a celebrity these days because you are monitored. Everyone like can share their opinion immediately. And also like if you are under the spotlight so often, like sometimes you just want to be in peace and not be bothered.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes I'm not in mood of talking to people, and if they would expect from me, being nice or like, oh my God, you are this person, and like I always would have to put this like phase of yes, I'm happy that you are recognizing me. I kind of understand why sometimes they would be kind of not mean, but just not in mood of interacting
Yeah.
or
No, but people will judge them
pleasing.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and that's not fair, in
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Okay, but you don't know any story.
Not necessarily, no. No. I mean,
I
I've
mean,
also met like nice celebrities. Like I last year I was at the airport and like Fred again was right next to me and he was like the most
oh
normal,
yeah.
chill
Oh,
guy
that must have
ever.
been cool.
That like it wasn't a big deal. He was just buying like a pair of shoes next to me and it was like being so polite to everyone and being like not making a huge deal out of it. And I was like, I to my head in my head I was like, oh my God, I just saw you at a concert that had like 15 like 150,000 people at it, and you're just so chill
Yeah.
and cool, like being a normal person. Um,
Oh, maybe we need to do more Raya dates and
I'm still on the wait list.
it's the most random thing ever.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
But if you want to date a celebrity, go there. Maybe
maybe.
that's what they say.
Yeah. But anyways, any other topics on the celebrity side?
Eh, no, I guess there's not much we can talk about really because neither of us is a celebrity yet. But we already live the lifestyle
Clearly.
in our delusional universe, so we will get there. They will give you a discount, guys, on whatever.
Great. But yeah, I
Um,
guess like wrapping to our last topic of the big topic.
yeah, like let's go back to our beautiful Carrie and
Uh,
their functional relationship
well,
of
yeah,
saying I love you.
because the context here is he gave her a really like what she thought was an ugly, pretty much expensive bag,
I
and
like the bag, by the way, but I
interesting.
agree that it
It wasn't
was
Carrie's
not
vibe.
her. No, no,
No.
not at
And
all.
I feel like it's so funny, but guys do that. Like they think this is like so wanted and valued by everyone else, not thinking of like what you'd actually like. It's kind of funny. But yeah, Carrie saying I love you first. What are your thoughts? Have you done it before?
So I, to be completely honest, I don't remember, besides my last relationship, the most recent,
Yeah.
when did I say I love you for the first time and if I was first or not.
Okay.
I have no clue. So it was probably just like natural, like naturally as the relationship progressed, it would come to that point and it wasn't awkward for neither of the parties. But my last relationship, it came very unexpectedly. Like I would always be a person who um would not judge, but kind of be like, how can you be so emotionally influenced that it would just fall out of you or you would just spill it out in like a moment where you don't expect it. It happened to me. Like
Really?
I was
Okay.
so emotional and kind of like feeling all this intense emotion and it just like I just said it and I was like, crap, no, I wanted to say I love this. I love
Yeah.
it because I wanted to say I love it, but I said I love you. And then I corrected myself in the moment, but I also felt that I love you. It's just like I realized in the moment that that's probably true as well. So that was a little bit, yeah, weird in the moment, but then I didn't really think too much about it. Like
Yeah.
we kind of make a joke, and I think like soon after the other side said it as well. Um, But yeah, it was like saying it for the first time is always weird.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Like, I kind of want the other party to say it first. But then also, like, if you feel it, just go for it. I mean, if you're at that stage of a relationship where you feel this deeply about someone, probably is serious, so you should not feel ashamed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's definitely scary for anyone to voice their deep feelings like that. I do think there is stereotypically the law against women saying it first.
So I assume you also been in that situation?
I've still to this day never said I love someone first. I have told someone that I have feelings for them, which are
Oh,
strong, but I've not told them I
so
love them.
diplomatic.
I will use any other word than extreme. No, and I think like I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it just for me, for example, probably comes from a place of fear of like getting hurt by like just putting my feelings out there, which I usually do anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you are at least emotional as much as I am.
I fall in love on the daily.
Uh,
I don't know.
Is that grammatically correct? I don't know. Sorry, if
You're
I said
good.
the bullshit
We
sentence,
got you.
but so you never said it first.
No.
You always wait for the other person.
Yeah. I'll tell someone I
Wow.
like them.
Yeah, like on a second date, I like you.
No, but like honestly, like my feedback for my second date will always be like I'll text them, be like, "Hey, had a great time. Really like getting to know you. Like hope we can see each other soon." Like that's my
That's cute.
diplomatic response. Um, yeah, but I love Samantha's quote on like as they were discussing this because Carrie, I think, just got like came there was so like ashamed that she said this and she had to like literally confess it to her friends because it was so like I think scary and the fact that Big just said, "You're welcome."
I mean, poor guy. He was also like, I think in this episode, for the first time ever, we actually are experiencing a little bit of Mr. Big showing his sensitive, emotional
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. No, for sure, for
Um,
sure.
he is aware of all of these things. He is
He's quite
just
reflective here, you know?
yeah. So I'm like when I like when he said like I obviously see what's happening here. Like I know what you want to hear. It's just I need to say it in my own time.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
went to back to all of the previous situations where we were like, is he not aware of this or is he just being a dick? He was aware of
He
it,
was
I'm
aware of it.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
He was just like choosing to ignore it or just play on his ego because being vulnerable which just makes him feel so uncomfortable.
No, for sure, for sure. And I've like coming from Big's perspective, I've actually been in that situation where I was kind of taken by surprise that I like because obviously the immediate thing is usually when you say so you tell someone you love them is you want them to say it back. But sometimes you're
Mm.
just so taken by surprise and you can't. The story is so TMI, but I was like dating a guy, I think we were like 2 or 3 months into the relationship. We were about to have like sex for the first time. And like something just went wrong and he like got like really shy about it and like all of a sudden he just told me he loved me and I was like
Oh.
I was like I really just don't know what to say right.
No, but like this is worse. Like if you say I love you, that's not as bad as if someone tells you I love you and you're like,
So vulnerable already.
thank you. Like literally, this happened to me where like I would be
Uh,
like, thank you, and then you just feel like a piece of shit, but you also don't want to say something you don't necessarily feel like.
exactly. Like I think that would be worse if I actually just said something just to like get us out of the situation. Obviously, eventually, like I came to terms with it, and I felt it, and I said it back. But I was like, I just can't be fake right now.
Yeah, yeah, I am
So
the same. And honestly, that's worse than if you say it first.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's the thing is like Samantha's quote is like you can tell a man that you hate him, you'll have the best sex of your life. You tell a man that you love him, you'll never see him again.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's not true. My recent experience is more like, how much can I trust what you keep telling me?
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, but I think our
So
sample size is too small. Like we haven't told that enough men. I clearly have told zero.
I do see that maybe, and this is just me trying to be very empathetic here,
Yeah,
like very, I don't know if this is even going too much. It's just because they are less emotionally attuned, it means probably more for them. Like it sounds more serious for them to say it than for us. So for them, it's like if I say it, it means more.
yeah.
Like it's more
It's
serious.
like a death
So
sentence.
yeah,
And when
it's the
they don't
same
expect
thing.
it.
It's like okay, the moment I say this, everything changes, and like the relationship is now more serious or
Yeah,
real or whatever. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure. I think that's that for women. It's more of like their feelings, and I think as well as like when you're kind of like sexually involved with someone, like a lot of women are like that's a level of closeness that like does see that foundation for being in love, whereas for men, like it's more casual, I think, and like it's not a reflection of
mm.
them loving someone. So for like women,
I
we
just
start feeling
so.
sooner.
What do you think is the expression of closeness for men?
I actually think caretaking, acts of kindness, things like that. It's super
Like
Freudian, but it's like the way that their mother has loved them.
so, like when they actually take care of you.
No, when you take care of them. So when they see you like being really
Oh,
like
no,
attentive
but
and like seeing the small
I meant the
things.
other side. So,
Oh.
like for us, like the expression goes through like the act of service, but
Oh, so how
also
they show love without saying it? I think Carrie was talking about it for a little bit.
not love, but more like that they are really, really in love
Yeah, or like
or
affection, feelings for you, want to invest in you. I still come back to this, but the idea of like I think someone was talking about like engagement. So buying that ring is a active investment. I think that goes back to it. So like to men, going back to our conversation, is like their biggest resource and their biggest capital is like the amount of money that they can make to provide for the family. The fact that they're investing and allocating those resources towards you is showing that they like care and love for you because they're actually actively investing monetarily into you.
So you want to say that until you get the engagement ring,
No, you can get other expensive
basically,
ring gifts.
unless you get that kind of commitment, you can't trust that it's real.
I don't think you can't trust them. It's real. I think it's just really obvious. So, for example, if they're planning like trips, if they're taking you out to restaurants, like they're putting their wallet on the line, that's when they're, I think, serious about it. Or like they
Okay.
feel it. I could be wrong though. That was just my observation.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly asked from a pure interest as it came to my mind right now because I don't think it's intimacy.
I don't think,
Like,
I think to a degree it could be intimacy, but it's more intimacy because of how that's how women perceive it. I think to them, intimacy is more of like a nice, comforting feeling. I don't think like that's them banking on you.
mm,
Whereas as
okay,
women, we do perceive it such.
yeah.
They're like, oh my God, he kissed me. Um, yeah. But anyways,
Shall we
we
close
shall
then?
close. I mean, did we get any answer? Because our question, again, I will repeat it again, is can we date outside of our caste?
I am kind of seeing you being disappointed by the
The
official answer.
last line she said in the episode is everything before I love you doesn't count.
Yeah.
Again, we're answering Carrie's questions for Carrie. Where is our cut?
Well, I took another sentence that
Okay.
she says earlier in the episode, which I think is probably like a segue between answering the question and making sense of the last sentence.
Okay.
That night, I realized that relationships have their own caste system. There is a person who says "I love you," and there is a person who never responds.
Can you explain to me how that
No.
answers the question, though?
Well, she is asking, can we date outside of our caste,
Yes.
right? And then she's like, well, that I realized that relationships have their own class caste system. So even if you date outside of a social class, there is like another caste systems, which is like how
I don't think it's a
when
class thing though. It's more of like who has the who you feel
upper
has the
hand.
upper hand based
Yeah,
on like who's invested in more.
but that's the whole point of caste systems, that one is above the other, right?
I
In like
guess.
different like dynamics.
Such a
And she was
stretch.
like,
I'm really
she's like the relationships is their own like caste system where one is,
yeah,
in
has the
charge
upper hand the
because
other.
yeah. And then she kind of closes it with, well, I figured everything before I love you just doesn't count. Like the moment he says basically the caste system is kind of like,
Dissolved.
I know it's a stretch, but I kind of,
I'm glad you're
try.
here to be the one to be able to read between the lines because I frankly don't have enough patience for this.
This was not a straightforward one. I think like the answer that she gives has no connection to the question. And it's just again the Lulu Carey who just being told I love you and everything else is
Nothing else matters. The question, let's throw it
no.
out. Who cares about writing a
Yeah,
column?
I don't even remember I was writing something like that a day ago. But yeah, that's how I try to
Yeah.
explain
What
it.
would your answer be? How would you answer the question?
Mm,
You didn't write it down? I love putting you on the spot.
I didn't expect you to ask me that. Which stupid. Stupid. Um
Adam.
Overall, yes. But
Okay.
then it depends, it really depends on the specifics of each relationship.
All right.
I think it's easier if you are a man to date outside of your class
Yep.
because you are looking for different things. They're not necessarily class connected most of the time. Sometimes, I'm generalizing here. Obviously, there are a lot of
Except for Steve, who like walked up to Miranda, very sad, puppy-eyed, and said that she needs someone more on her level.
yeah. And then for women, I think women is more complex. I think you can always date someone outside of your class, and depends on like how much you're in love, how much you're compatible as people. There might be things that make it easier if you are from the same class or similar, and there might be things that make it hard
Yeah,
if you are from the same. It's the same with culture,
yeah,
right? If you date someone outside of your culture, some things might be better as a result of it, some things might be worse. It's definitely easier if it's like similar environment, similar type of background.
yeah.
But I understand why you would want to stay um close to it. Close or upgrade, because
It's easier.
eventually we are all looking to either improve our situation or just have comfortable life. We don't want to like
Hopefully.
struggle, right? So
Some people
yeah,
are
so
okay with
you
it. Some people are okay with it.
yeah, I mean again, I'm generalizing. I'm assuming that like that's like an instinct that of survival,
Yeah.
that you don't want to have a miserable life or suffer. So like unconsciously you might think about it being like I am looking for certain type, that has these characteristics, even though you never say it like out loud, but it's just something that attracts you about the person.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
about
yeah.
you? What would
No,
be
I
your
definitely kind
answer?
of agree with the statement of like it's definitely easier to date within your similar background, your class, just because there's a lot more commonalities that you can have as the foundation. Um, I do agree with the fact that like back to my statement of like I don't care where you are in your professional life, where your background is, as long as you are looking to evolve and develop. Like for me, the hard thing to go through is like if you're just okay being static. And I've seen a number of
Mm.
like my friends' relationships as well, like go wrong is like they're happy in the place that they are. And my friend is like, but I want to do so much more with our life. Like, and that's the thing is like, I think for us as women, it's really hard because you see the potential in them
Oh yeah,
and
we
you're,
date for
we
potential
date for potential and
so
not who they are
often.
today. And so like, again, going back to our research of TikToks, there've been so many like TikToks of girls just sitting down and being like, what if they never change? Are you okay with that? And like, that's something that's
And
really hard to understand.
and that's also like, speaking from my experience, I think I did it often where I would date for potential.
Yeah.
And they are like you see them evolving, but they are not evolving to the version that you imagine they can. And then you're like, well, I see you going somewhere, so why you cannot go this direction, which I imagine you will go, which is kind of unfair, but also like you will be disappointed because it's not the potential you see in them, it's a potential or limitation that they see or can do.
Exactly.
That's just hard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's like where that conversation is kind of important, maybe not on the first, but maybe on the second date is like, where are you today? Like, how do you see yourself progressing? Whether it is like in your current career, and if you don't like your current career, that's totally fine. Like, I've dated someone who's like, I actually hate my job, but like, I have this passion and I'm hoping to turn this into a career. And that's fine as long as you like set yourself that goal and you're like working to get there to make yourself like happier. Because nobody likes to be stuck in a job that just like pays the bills. But like, that's where, and I find people most attractive and like is when they talk about something that they're passionate about, that they're in love like with. And that's
For
where, and
sure.
it could be completely different to me. Like someone I like was talking to, they're talking about like satellites and space shuttles, things I know nothing about. And they're talking about like
Mm.
the intricate details of like the electrical engineering and all this stuff. And I was like, I find that really fascinating because they're like, one, able to explain it to me, not from like a snobby level of like, you don't even know anything, but let me tell you about it. It's more of like how excited they get when they talk about it. It's like that's what I
Yeah.
find most attractive. So if that's missing, it's not it's a no-go for me.
I mean, it definitely is a true, like, if there's someone that I would meet would be like perfect on paper, but that they don't have ambition to like grow, that would be not attractive. I think at the same time, we are looking at this from a privileged perspective of you have a freedom to follow what you want, which I think a lot of people still like they can
I
because
think in this world today that we have with like YouTube and like all the free courses in the world, you can actually get there. I think we're in a very unique place in history for that.
You can, but not maybe, like when you're like, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? And your current state is like, I am like my health is
Sure.
deteriorating and or like I
100%.
have to take care of my sick
Yeah.
parent. Like that is my priority. And my career is just to dare to like make my means
Yeah, yeah,
end.
yeah. It's kind of on pause.
It's or like, you had like a serious trauma from your childhood. So even though there's potential, you just
Can't
can't
get out of that
pass.
headspace. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's totally
Yeah.
fair.
And that's what I mean. Like we are looking at it as I am a healthy human being who has the opportunity and freedom to do what I feel passionate about. But that is great.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, I don't think still there are a lot of people who don't have that
definitely.
situation. So it's complex. I think we are being very light. This is like a fun podcast, but like if you want to be serious,
There's a lot of factors that play into it for sure. And
yeah.
like, yeah. All right. Well, not to complicate this. I
All
think we've
right.
answered Carrie's questions. We are clearly carrying the
Yes.
whole team here.
You're welcome, Carrie, again.
I guess she can afford to get
But
distracted.
like I like the messiness of Carrie sometimes.
It's fun. It definitely
It
makes for a
feels
good
real.
plot. It feels
Yeah,
real. It
true.
doesn't feel like,
Perfect character.
yeah, yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
So, do you know what the next episode is? Because you usually know.
I usually know, I usually look it up, let's be honest. But we're gonna be on season 2, episode 11, which is gonna be the evolution. Ooh. I don't know what that means actually. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, it's good. Like I kind of stopped watching in advance, so I have no clue.
Yeah, it says Miranda receives a worrying diagnosis from her gynecologist. Oh, this is, I think, where she says like
Oh,
she's
I
gonna
know
have
which one
trouble
this
like
is.
getting pregnant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Okay, this is funny. Not funny, but
yeah.
like
Also,
the
very,
plot.
very on point with today's world.
Yeah.
The whole fertility discussion. Anyway, thank you everyone that
We'll see you
listened to
next
us
time.
today, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.